Welcome back for another episode of Driveway Shop. This time I'm actually in the garage. Driveway's behind me. Haha. Anyway, let's see what we're working on today. Alright, here I've got a bench grinder. I've already torn it down a little bit. Nothing special. Just 4 screws on the end and a couple retaining screws for the protective shielding. Of course, removing the wheels. I was using this many years ago to wire brush nuts and bolts for the GT6. And the bearings or brushes or something wore out, plus the switch broke. So it broke first. So I wired in one of the dash switches for my GT6, which at the time was unused, but now it's used. So I've got to find another switch for it. But that still doesn't solve the problem of why it won't run anymore. Well, it would run. I'd spin the wheel and then it would start going. And it got to where it would barely keep up. So I just had to stop using it. And I just finally decided, well, it's sat around long enough. Let's trash it or fix it. So now I need to figure out how to fix it or determine if it's repairable. I suspect it's just the bearings. Anyway, I've got these screws out. And this housing does not want to pull off. So I'm thinking one of two things. Either make a plate that screws into here that I can get a 3-jaw puller on and pull that off. Pull that off. Yeah. Or tap on that with a block of wood and drive it that way. And at the moment I think I'm going to try that. I started making a plate for my 3-jaw puller, but I don't have a 5/8. And I may just, I've got it drilled out to 3/8. I may just use a step bit. But for now, let's see if I can drive it out right there. All right. But safety first. Might have to clamp it down. See if that did anything. It is. Let's keep going. Whee! Ooh. You feel that bearing right there? It's got notches on it. Or something. Not very smooth. Let's try this other one. Yeah, I'll do that here in a moment. But first, let's take a look inside. Maybe we'll see something surprising together. All right, do you see anything I don't see? I don't see anything concerning on this side. have to take the other side apart and look. Separate just like that. Whack whack. Now, is it painted on the inside? It's weird. Looks like this got paint all over it. Guess I'll clean that up with some sandpaper and throw it back in there and see what it does after I get new bearings. Wow. I was spinning it a moment ago and it got to a point where it wouldn't even turn. This one's nice. Look at that. I could probably put it back in, but I won't. Windings look good on that. All I need to do is take the bottom off, put a new switch, new bearing. Away we go. So, that's it for now. I'll get some more bearings and be back. Okay, here we go. Take this, see if my 3-job puller is sufficient to, whoopsie, to get this bearing off. There's other methods, I know. I'm just trying this one. Look at that. It's going. Yeah, this is the rough one. That one's a lot better. Should I keep it for something else? I don't know. I'll probably throw it in the scrap pile and weld it to something. Alright, these ones are, if you can see the number there, 6202-Z. The Z means it's shielded on one side. Picked up these bearings today. $6 each. And these ones are ZZ, which means shielded both sides. Alright, this particular workbench top is from a solid core 1 3/4 inch door. And that hole actually comes in handy sometimes, like for situations like this. So, I'll just tap it. Make everything jump off my bench. Well, it kind of works. Of course it makes noise, but if I give it a little spin, it runs. Sometimes it runs just fine on its own. I don't know if they need the bed in, but my suspicion is I've got the bearings on one side just slightly not square to the shaft, and it's binding just enough. But it works better than it did 15 years ago when I stopped working it. So I have been adjusting the torque on the 8 screws holding the caps in place, trying to find a sweet spot. Seeing that's obviously not it, and ignore the switch for now. It works. I need to make up a nice plate that screws into these holes that I can mount it in. I think the toggle will be nice instead of the little rocker switch. Okay, I got the switch put in. Had to make a new plate for it. Problem is, slowly spools up. In fact, it was going the wrong way that time. I don't know why. But it just sits there. If I give it a little bit of help, it spins just fine. I suspect the bearings and the shaft are not 100% true to each other. If I tighten these 8 screws up too much on either side, it puts it on a bind. So my question is, how can I get the bearings true, perpendicular to the shaft? As it is, it'll work, but I fear that if it's on a slight bind, it's going to put a slight bind on the bearings and overheat them prematurely and make them wear out. It's possible it did that from the factory, and that's why it burned up in the first place. I don't know. There may not be any hope for this beyond what I've got it, but if there is, you certainly holler at me and let me know. Put it down in the comments there or something. Otherwise, as little as I use it, it's not that big a deal. So, this could be the last video on this grinder. I just got to put all the ends back on, but yeah, you don't want to see that. So anyway, one more episode of Driveway Shop signing off.